What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Chicken Bucket Boys podcast. I'm your host, Paraskevas Xenophontos, alongside the famous Brian DeGennaro. How you doing today, Brian?
Hanging in there. Hanging in there.
Ah, you're on the same boat with everybody else. Everybody's still quarantining, trying to stay safe. Now in New York, we have to wear masks wherever we go. So it looks like this thing is not going to blow over anytime soon. And we might not have any baseball. So
No, but
it's
luckily you
some,
guys have us to get you through it. So
yeah,
here we
absolutely.
go.
So it's the same good baseball news going on every single day. You're hearing the possibility that MLB is still trying to push to have this season played in Arizona or Florida, but it's getting less likely by the day. So what me and Brian are going to talk about today is if this season doesn't pan out, there's going to be a lot of players, actually great players, that are free agents after this year. Mookie Betts got traded to the Dodgers during the offseason, so there's a great possibility that Mookie Betts doesn't play one single game as a Los Angeles Dodger. So they traded three of their best prospects to Boston. And imagine Mookie Betts heading back to Boston after this is all over.
That would suck. That would suck a lot for us.
Like everybody says, when the Yankees traded Chapman to Chicago and they got Gleyber Torres, it'll be the same thing. Yeah, but Chapman helped win a World Series for Chicago for the first time. So it's a different spectrum, but it's just crazy that when December hit and Garrett Cole signed with the Yankees, our biggest hopes and dreams was we finally have an ace. We're going to win a World Series. We have a complete rotation. And as the months went on, one player got surgery on his back. The other one got Tommy John surgery. And now there's a good possibility we might not see a 2020 baseball season or any other sports league till maybe next year, maybe the year after. And it's very tough. So we have a list in front of us of some top free agents in 2021. And the first person on that list is none other than Yoenis Cespedes. So Yoenis Cespedes, as everybody knows, he came from Cuba. He was a superstar in Oakland, and then he got traded to the Mets back in 2015, I believe, right?
Yeah, it was the World Series year, wasn't it?
Yeah, so he went on a tear during that World Series. And what did the Mets fans want? They wanted the Mets to re-sign Yoenis Cespedes. So they gave him a big contract, and ever since he got that contract, he's been an injury-prone player and hasn't seen the field in a long time. Got double heel surgery, fell in his ranch. God knows what he was doing. But this year, before the season even started, the Mets actually cut his salary in half. It's either we're not going to pay you or you take the salary cut. So if they do play, you might see Cespedes, depending on which month. But even though the Mets fans don't miss him at this rate, they could have seen the last of it. So, in my opinion, I can see Yoenis Cespedes being a full-time DH in Oakland for the 2021 season. Obviously, he's not going to get a max contract like he did with the Mets. He's aging. He's injury-prone. But I can see Oakland giving him a one-year, $7.5 million makeup deal to see if he still has it. But he won't see the outfield at all. What do you have to say about that, Brian?
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. I mean, when he is healthy and he's playing well, he's one of the best hitters around. So definitely worth taking a flyer on him if they have the opportunity. Yeah, I could see the Athletics. I would say definitely an American League team, unless the universal DH becomes a thing sooner than we think. But
It would be a great pickup for any team if that's the
yeah,
case.
you,
But
you can't expect him to play the outfield though. So
I mean, he has one of the best arms we've seen in a long time. Because you remember that game against the Angels where he threw out Howie Kendricks at home plate
yeah,
all the way from left field. So
no,
it's
he's
sad.
got
Like,
a great arm, but you can't trust his heels. You can't. His legs are all messed up, huh?
yeah. So my opinion is either the Athletics or if the Universal DH, he'll go to the National League or just go anywhere basically a team gives him a contract. If somebody offers him $2 million, he'll probably take it because at this rate,
I think that's a little bit low. I think that he'll probably get more than that, but not much more. It's hard to
Yes,
say at this point. I mean, his salary for this year is what, about 30 million?
it was originally 29.5 million, but they actually cut it down massively.
Right,
Just
right,
like
right.
so, because it's the Wilpons, they want their money back. They give the fans what they want, but it ends up backfiring. And okay,
Poor Mets fans.
the next player we have is Mookie Betts.
Hmm.
Where
Well,
do you see Mookie Betts playing next year?
I cannot imagine a world where the Dodgers traded all that away for him and then don't try to re-sign him. So I could definitely see the Dodgers. That being said, I know they have a lot of guys becoming free agents next year, right? I think a couple of their guys are up for new contracts, but I have a hard time believing that they're going to be okay with letting a guy like Mookie Betts walk after they, traded for him and all that.
One of
And
those free
especially if he
agents that
doesn't even get to play for them this year.
yeah, it would suck, honestly. Imagine you're
It's a
investing
PR
so
nightmare for sure. But I mean, just from a baseball standpoint, I mean, that's one of the best players in the league. So if there's any way that they can sign him, I'll say the Dodgers.
one player that's going to be coming off the books is 36-year-old Justin Turner, who's actually making $20 million a year this year.
So there you
Another
go.
former Met who basically reimbursed his career playing as the Dodgers. So if I were to project where Mookie Betts is next year, I don't see it being in LA.
Really?
I see himself going where the money goes because he's going to want a $400
Yeah.
million contract.
Oh
So,
yeah, but LA is one of the few teams that can afford to give him that. It's the Dodgers, especially if
I
they're
mean,
taking at least. I'm sure there's other free agents that they have, but if they're taking at least 20 million off their books, I don't see why they wouldn't be in the running.
I wouldn't mind him coming to the Yankees.
That's
None
not
of us.
happening.
I know it's not, but we can have our high hopes and dreams,
I
right?
mean, that'd be great having probably the top three right fielders in the league on the same team. Basically, I
Imagine
mean,
having a lineup. Imagine having an outfield of Hicks, Betts, and Judge.
that's insane.
So honestly,
And with
I wouldn't
Stanton
be
as the
surprised.
backup.
I wouldn't even be surprised if he goes back to Boston. Boston pulls the biggest heist
That's not
of all
happening.
time.
There's no way. No, because I'll tell you why. Because they just hired Heim Bloom from the was it Tampa Bay, right?
Mm-hmm.
That dude he's a brilliant front office executive, and he's not one that's just going to spend a ton of money in his second year, so on one person. I don't see that happening. He wants to build it up from scratch. They're rebuilding, so it's not even like he'd be of any use to them for the next couple of years. I expect him to completely tear the team down and start over. So I don't see that happening. But in the off chance that it does, I'm going to blame you for jinxing it. So thank you.
I'm
It's a
sorry, bro.
win-win
I'm
for
just.
me.
So speaking of outfielders of the New York Yankees, there's another guy who could be a possible free agent, but I don't see him declining his player options for the next couple of years, and that's Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton, when he came to the Yankees, I was very surprised it happened. Like, because it was the year, December of 2017, the Yankees just lost the ALCS to the cheating Astros. And the Yankees were the front runners to land Shohei Ohtani that year. They had one of the
Right.
best. They had one of the best
That's right.
presentations for him. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
December 20. They had one of the best presentations for Ohtani. And then when they didn't sign him, because honestly, I feel like Ohtani chose the Angels because of first off of Mike Trout, but second of all, it was a lesser trip of traveling from California to Japan on a regular basis. But when the Yankees basically got Stanton for pennies and marbles, I honestly I was happy. I was like, we got two of the biggest outfielders. We just got the NL MVP. Um, has it been injury prone? Yeah, but you can't hate on a guy. He wants to be a Yankee and he has the power and strength to help this team. And remember the playoffs last year. Was he hurt? Yeah, but every plate appearance he had, he didn't swing and hack at balls out of the zone. He took his time and he was intimidating to pitchers on the opposite side. So I honestly see Stanton picking up his player option and being a Yankee for the rest of his career. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I feel the same way. But, going off what you said in the playoffs last year, he did look really good. So I was really looking forward to seeing him healthy this year. So I feel like if he could have a full year under his belt, oh man, that would have been fun. But this honestly might be a blessing in disguise for the Yankees, because if he did have a monster year this year, there was a decent chance that he might have opted out. Not saying that he would have, but I mean, there was more of a possibility. Now it's not going to happen, but having him for the next few years. I know a lot of Yankees fans don't like him for whatever reason, but I mean, he's the perfect star for New York. He's quiet. He doesn't do anything wrong. Like he's awesome. He's just a nice guy. He gives, he's very honest in his interviews. He's a leader. The team loves him, and I mean, more than anything, he's a great player. When he's in the lineup, it gives so much depth to the lineup. I mean, we were talking about it on Unhinged Talk the other day, how having him behind Judge means you can't pitch around Judge. You have to pitch him because the next guy up is Stanton.
It's
So,
Stanton, yeah.
I mean, it's great to have him around, and I'm looking forward to the next few years with him.
So I'm going to go with a double twist. Two guys in the Yankees rotation are free agents after this year. Masahiro Tanaka and James Paxton. Honestly, I would love to have both of them back, but I don't know what Cashman and Steinbrenner are going to – honestly, I can see them trying to get both of them back. But if you were to choose one to come back and one you believe that has a good possibility of coming back, who would you go with?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, because Tanaka's been with the team since 2013.
I'll tell you what I think. I think they'll both be back next year, and obviously I'm being a little optimistic, but I do think that Cashman loves homegrown players. I don't know if you could really call Tanaka homegrown, but he came to the major leagues with the Yankees. He's been with the Yankees since he's been in the major leagues, and he's been great for us. So I would expect that he wants him back. The other thing is, Cashman's very clever. He likes to hold on to guys that he found and turned out to be pretty good. And Paxton so far has been that, and I expect him to continue to do that. I was expecting him to have another big year this year. So I think if it comes down to one or the other, I think they'll probably side with Tanaka. But you can't discount Paxton either. The dude's stuff is nasty.
Not at all. Cashman made a trade for – he made a trade for him for a reason. So
yeah. When he's healthy, I mean, he's one of the top pitchers. Did you know, actually, he holds the Yankees record for most strikeouts per 9 innings? It's a true story. Look it up.
When you actually told me that, I was very surprised because we were testing something we're planning on doing next week on Unhinged Talk. It's going to be Unhinged Trivia. So it's going to be a great game hosted by Brandon Kramer, me, Brian, and our boss, who's always sleeping, Patrick Hennessy. We're going to be the contestants, but we have no idea what's coming for us next week. But I would honestly see Cashman pushing hard to sign both players because at this rate, we don't know what our rotation is going to be for the next couple of years. Because
it's true.
As much as he brings energy to the team and he's lights out when healthy, you can't really rely on Luis Severino for the next couple of years because when he got paid, he hasn't been healthy since. Because 2017 was prime Severino year, but in big moments, you can't really rely on him.
Yeah, but I feel like he got hurt in 2017. He was definitely overused. Yeah. And you saw the second half of 2017, he struggled a bit. And then, he couldn't get on the field last year. It was probably a result of that. And then obviously ended up needing Tommy John surgery. So, I mean, that could have been something that started way back in 2017. I think once he gets past the Tommy John, he should be okay, hopefully.
Did he get the shoulder surgery last year, or did he hold off on that?
Yeah, he got it. Yeah. No. I don't remember. It's not important.
Because that
I
was the
expect to be healed. I mean, it didn't sound like there were any tears or anything serious. It just he
plain.
had a lat strain was really what kept him out, right? Because he had the shoulder issues, but then he started getting better, and then it was the lat strain, and that's something that's going to heal. It just takes a longer time to heal. But I expect him to be back. Actually, going on, is a good point that you bring up because considering how many young, talented starters they have coming up through the minor league system, maybe they don't need both of Tanaka and Paxton. Maybe they can get by with a Davy Garcia or a Clark Schmidt, one of those guys that might step up. Although after not playing this year, that's going to be harder.
Mhm.
But if there's any chance, if we do end up getting half a season and those guys show that they can perform at a major league level, that might be interesting.
If
And it might even be better that there's, say if there's half a season and there's no real World Series to, you know, try hard for, maybe we can bring up some of the younger guys, give them a shot in the major league, see how they do. So
if we do have a season, I don't even think September call-ups are going to be a thing.
no, but I'm saying just start them with the team if there's room on the roster.
I think they moved it up to 26 spots now.
They
Like
did,
20.
but it might be even bigger if they're trying to get in like double headers and stuff.
Yeah, because if it's going to be
So
7 inning double headers,
yeah, you might need to
especially
see some of these guys. We might need to go to like a 7-man rotation this year if you're playing 7 games in 5 days or something like that. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
I just hope we get to see some baseball. But as the days go on, it's looking very unlikely, and it's sad because these are things you look forward to, these things you talk about, and you want to get engaged to see if we actually win a World Series. But just like our hopes and dreams for the last couple of years, it's going down the drain.
That's pretty pessimistic, my friend.
I'm sorry, man. I've been craving a World Series ever since 2009 again. So when you
Yeah,
think
man.
when they bring you in, it's like they're pushing you out all the time, but like
I
getting your
know.
hopes up.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see this core get to compete for a World Series too, because I mean, some of these guys are going to be up for some of the young guys are going to be up for contracts, and I don't expect the Yankees to keep all of them. And Judge is now getting older. I mean, he's what 28 now, so
It's good, yeah. And he's
be
in the
29
arbitration
next
year, so
year, and it's concerning. You think all these guys are really young, but now we're in year 3 or so of this new team, this new younger baby bomber team, and they're not so baby anymore.
as the years go on, we constantly forget that as much as in love we are with the team, we forget we're getting older. We're not getting any younger. Times are going to change. So, like you said, in the next couple of years, you're going to have guys like Judge, Torres, Sanchez, and other guys basically up for qualifications for a contract. So,
Yeah, and even outside of that, I mean, some of these guys are going to get past their prime. I mean, how many great years does Judge have left in him? How many great years does Gary Sanchez have left? So at some point, we have to start competing. And I was expecting that to be this year, but maybe it'll be next year. But then that's another year later.
yeah,
So
they're getting older. So, but there's another player I can definitely see them not re-signing or picking up their player option. And that's Brett Gardner. Because I'm not
I don't
being
know, man.
like, look,
He
he
seems
has a
to
10
keep coming
million,
back.
he has a 10 million club option after this year.
Yeah,
And that guy's not getting any younger, but you have a bunch of great young outfielders that you can possibly bring up from the minors. Guys
it's
like
true.
you have Clint Frazier. He definitely deserves a chance. Definitely
Estevan
deserves to
Florial. I mean, if
Esteban
he ever
Florial.
gets his stuff together.
And you got an 16-year-old Jason Dominguez who's going to be,
Oh,
well,
oh yes, I
he's
can't
going to
wait
be
for
that.
him.
So
But he's what
imagine
16, so at the best he'll be available for what like 2022.
100% because don't forget, Juan Soto was in the same boat when he signed with the Nationals at a young
Yeah.
age. So if he comes up at 18, 19 years old, you're starting
So we
outfield
still
is
need another year of Brett Gardner, is what you're saying.
no,
We
not
need
at all.
Brett Gardner to hold
Not
it down in
not at
2021.
all.
No, but you're
You
right. I mean, I think if Aaron Hicks hadn't needed Tommy John surgery, there was a possibility that they wouldn't bring back Brett Gardner because, I mean, like you said, you got Clint Frazier, you got Mike Talkman, you got Stanton and Judge. So, I mean, we have a pretty packed outfield and some other younger guys that could be coming up potentially. Like I said,
Like,
Florial.
yep. And like, don't forget, like a couple years ago when Brett Gardner was a free agent, they immediately gave him a contract. Without hesitation. But this year they waited till like January to give him a contract because they wanted to sign Garrett Cole first and see
Yeah, that was the focus.
where that's heading. But if the season's not even played, I can honestly see them not bringing back Brett Gardner. I think they're just going to go young.
Yeah,
And
I could definitely see that.
And also George Springer's is a free agent after this year, but who knows who's going to – he's a great at-bat, don't get me wrong, but
does his
a lot of
contract
teams
come
are
with the
good.
trash can?
Bang, bang.
Because if not, he's not going to be very useful.
You're going to need a camera for him in the center field because that's the only way he's going to be able to know which pitches come.
There's one that you didn't touch on. That's DJ LeMahieu.
Can't forget about DJ. He was a big key part of our contact hitting, and he was basically the star of that lineup last year.
Yeah, I'm going to have a hot take right now. I don't think they're going to bring him back.
Why?
I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about it. I think I don't think he embodies what the Yankees organization appreciates in a player. As like you said, as a contact hitter, he's not really a big home run hitter. He doesn't have a lot of power. Well, he hit a few last year, but that was with the juice ball. So, I mean, I think they're maybe trying to stay away from those guys. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised if they brought him back, but I'd
if
be
that's
more
their
surprised
motive,
if they brought him back than if they didn't.
I mean, if that's
he's also
their
getting
motive,
older too. Don't forget. I mean, he's what, 33 now?
I mean, if that's their motive, then I don't like that because the Yankees have always
I'm not saying I
struggled with
like
having a
it.
contact hitter in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's either home run or miss.
Well, thanks, guys, for tuning in. This was the latest edition of the Chicken Bucket Boys podcast, which is sponsored by Unhinged Media and PX Media. I'm your host, Paraskevas Xenophontos, alongside the legendary Brian DeGennaro. Have a good night, guys. Stay safe, wash your hands, and social distance.
Cheers.